Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, taking care of business with Chris Voss, who is with the CEO of the Black Swan Group, also a former lead FBI international kidnapping negotiator, and Calgary realtor, Renata Reid with Sotheby's International Realty Canada. All right, people are probably wondering, what's the connection between these two? And maybe I don't know. Maybe Renata, you could start and tell me how you two are connected.
We met for the first time at a real estate conference in Los Angeles at the Full Fee Agent Conference in LA, and we connected through. I came from Calgary, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get Chris a T-shirt from Calgary, and I decided to bring him a gift from Calgary and invite him to come join us here in Calgary at some point, which I would love to have that happen still. I think that's in the future at some point. And we had a brief conversation as I gave him the T-shirt, and it was a 5 minute conversation in a room full of 2,000 people, and somehow we stayed connected ever since. And then I got invited to the Golden Swan Alliance, which I'm part of with Chris now, and then I got an opportunity to co-author his next book with him, which I gladly took, and I did the interview and was accepted into the group. So thank you, Chris. And that's a very short summary of what happened, I guess. But maybe we go with.
Okay, and I'm going to ask Chris, can maybe explain a little bit about what Black Swan Group is and what you do.
Well, we coach and train negotiations, which I know sounds kind of vanilla, but it's based on the emotional intelligence of hostage negotiators. What I learned being with the FBI, lead international kidnapping negotiator for the FBI, but communicating with people all over the world to try to get collaboration, if you would imagine that. And as it turns out, it works all over the world. So I wrote a book, Never Split the Difference, negotiating as if your life depended on it. And then also the full fee agent with Steve Shull. And we find we're transforming people's lives through better negotiation. And a lot of it really is, as odd as it sounds, we all create friction inadvertently. And if you could just eliminate a lot of that friction, like everything accelerates. You don't have to get that much better to go that much faster. And I think Renata's gut instinct for that is that that's true. And next thing you know, like we got all these great collaborations, which are a lot of fun.
Mhm.
And we happen to be making a fair amount of money while we're doing it, but we're having fun first.
So tell me just a little bit, Renata, you mentioned the group. What did you call the Golden Alliance?
Golden Swan Alliance, yeah.
Golden One Alliance. What is that?
So it's a business mastermind group that Chris invited me to, that collaborates with his friends Joe Polish and Nick Peterson at the Genius Network in Phoenix. And there we collaborate on business ideas and entrepreneurship and just excelling in um, getting any advice on negotiations, on marketing, on business operations from the top people in the world. I feel
Mm.
I feel very fortunate to be part of the room, and it is a fantastic organization. And it's 4 times a year, and I love it. Can't wait to the next one, which is coming up in March.
Okay. And Chris, maybe can you talk a little bit about the types of people you have dealt with to talk about and teach negotiations to, like all kinds of businesses, industries.
Yeah, wherever human beings are involved. But to put a finer point on it, the people that are attracted to this to do well at this are entrepreneurial, and everybody thinks they're entrepreneurial. A lot of people are not. A lot of people work as something they got to do to pay the bills. But if you're working as an extension of what you like to do and you want to get better, best example I can give you is I've also got a master class with the master class, if you will, and it's actually their number one master class. But because of that, I talked to them a lot. They told me that their classic prototype customer is the cat. Now, what's a cat? A cat's at the time they define as a curious, ambitious 30-something. Now, the first two words are really important. Like, are you really curious? Like, does life interest you? Curious is highly positive. So you basically a highly positive person who likes to learn. Ambitious. Ambitious people are by definition innovative. They don't follow the crowd because the crowd is doing everything everybody else is doing.
Mhm.
Best practices are common practices. Ambitious people, they create the best practices. They don't follow them. They're plowing new ground. They're having a ball in life.
Mhm.
And this is really the kind of people that I coach and train. If I teach you a new idea, like get somebody to say no instead of yes, 80% of the people go like, nah, I can't do that. No, it's horrible. The ambitious people say, oh, that's interesting. Let me try it. So those are the kind of people that I coach and train, and Renata's one of those people.
All right. And Renata, maybe in a nutshell, tell me, what it's meant for your career to be involved with the teachings of Chris, I guess.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's been life-changing, actually. Just from March and on, I feel like I've been constantly improving everything in my life up until this point, but I feel like it's in a accelerated sort of a mode at this point with the teachings because it really teaches you. I use the tactical empathy, which he teaches is number one teaching, and I use it daily, all the time. And I catch myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's another Chris moment.
Yeah.
It really, and it's improved every part of my life. So not only relationships, it's like in clients and everything, like everything you use it. Like you said, Chris said, it's anywhere there's humans, you're actually improving that part of your life. So, I mean, I really have this positive outlook on life. Like, I feel like I didn't realize how much it has impacted me, but it's been phenomenal. So, huge improvement there.
So I'm curious, Chris, because being a parent takes a lot of negotiation skills. Do you deal with a lot of parents?
A lot of people really tell us that they use this with their children a lot because a parent's job is really to help your kids think. And if you're using empathy, tactical empathy with people, with them, not on them, with them, like both of you are thinking better.
Yeah.
And, a lot of parents, you get tired, you're giving your kid direction, but you're not helping your kid think by giving them direction. You're helping them think by having them analyze stuff and think stuff through and make better decisions.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it works really well with parents and children. Some people are talking about opening up their teenagers to conversations they haven't had with them in years.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Yeah. So tell me, Chris, a little bit about this new book. What's it called? What's it about?
Well, let Renata lay that out because she's one of the pioneers that's helping push that forward.
Well, strategic conversations, important conversations in everyday life. I mean, this is just such a phenomenal book on so many levels. I think the reason why I aligned with it is I have these conversations with people. I've been having them for years, and I've always wanted to write a book. I never imagined I'd be writing it with Chris Voss, the Chris Voss. That's like another level of writing a book. But what was so fascinating to me about this too is, this any like so I'm one of the chapters of 25 different co-authors, and anyone could pick up this book and actually use all the information in there to any aspect of their life of what they're going through. The other part of this that I aligned significantly with, which I thought was very cool, was the proceeds of this book go to help human trafficking. And I really, to me, I've been I think I'm a philanthropist from the bottom of my heart, and I feel like writing the book and having the proceeds go to something like that was just kind of mind blowing to me. And I'm so excited about just what this is going to do for people and the exposure and everything. It's been fantastic.
All right. Some details, Chris, about the book. When's it coming out?
Well, yeah, we're gonna pull the different co-authors together. My guess is we'll probably have it all pulled together sometime in the next 6 months. We're publishing through a collaborator of mine. Nick Nanton runs celebrity branding, and a number of other projects. He's done documentaries about human trafficking. Hence, while exploring that issue in documentaries, that's why the proceeds are going from that. And it's really the chicken soup for the soul model.
Hmm.
And it becomes tailored for people so that everybody can access it. You can see different takes on the same idea and different people. Some people, if they read something written by me, they're like, well, I was never a hostage negotiator. Can I do this? And the great thing about this is it's helping people understand that, yeah, you can do it. And if you read several different people, like Renata and I are very different people, but we're making the same ideas. We're different demographically. We're not, psychographics. We're ambitious. We're curious.
Yeah.
We enjoy life. And it takes you out of the demographic challenges, if you will. I didn't grow up where he grew up, or I never worked for the FBI for 24 years. And it helps you understand that, yeah, you can do this too. Dive in. The water's great. Read some examples and enjoy life that much more.
All right. Now I'm going to ask you both final question, both the same question, but Chris, what was the toughest negotiating circumstance that you have ever been involved in?
Well, I've been in some tough ones. And, to paraphrase the great Irish philosopher, Colin McGregor, I win or I learn. And, you're going to be in tough situations. It's not a failure on your part to have been in a tough situation. I negotiated enough hostage cases where there were bad guys on the other side that were going to hurt the victims no matter what.
Hmm.
And my job was to help the survivors get through it. The post-traumatic stress that the families
Yeah,
of hostages had to go through. So, without diving deeply into the tragedies, because there were tragedies,
yeah.
a lot of my job was helping the people's are in the collateral damage, the emotion, the lives that were wrecked or would have been wrecked if myself and my team hadn't been there for them. So, some tough times. There's no negotiation strategy that's going to work all the time. What you want is stuff that works more than anything else, and the stuff that has the lasting benefits of compassion after it's all over.
Hmm. Renata?
Mhm. You know what? I have so many, so many, but I think my favorite ones, tough negotiations. I mean, I've had people come to me and say, I'm going to be your toughest client. And I'm like, I love that. Somehow that to me is like, that's exciting. And those are the people that I find, okay, tell me more. I really, because I feel like they know what they want. They're very specific about what they want. And so when they tell me what they want, I can actually put together a phenomenal plan for them and actually execute much better than someone that is kind of like, well, this is like, I want this or I want that, or da, da, I don't really know. But when those people come to me, I find I get the best success. And I have one where it's kind of a magical story in a sense. They said, we're going to put an offer on this place that I ended up finding for them. And 5 minutes before the offer, they're like, nope, that's not the place for us. We're not writing. And then so we backed off that one, and then they said to me, well, actually we really want a house on this street, this house backing onto an ice rink and park and this and that, and they literally told me everything they needed. And I'm like, yeah, that house is impossible to find and nothing comes up on that street. And I get a call the next day, by the way, I have a house for sale and it's on this street backing onto this ice rink and I'm like, really? Okay. So it really, like, it just came together. And those are I have many, many stories like that. And it's almost like when they tell me their specifics, it comes to life. So it's kind of a crazy story, but I have a lot of those. Somehow I can put these magically together. And, and I think part of it is being open, like Chris says, is just being open, but understanding what what you can do for people. And it
Oh,
looks like magic. Whatever Chris does looks like magic. But it takes years of understanding people and going, yeah, okay, I
yeah.
get it.
And Chris, I guess it's something that evolves over time, right? Like are you still learning things about negotiation now, even though you've been doing it for how long?
Oh yeah, absolutely still learning. Human nature is endlessly fascinating.
Yeah.
So that we keep it within the constraint of what we define as empathy, which is not sympathy. And it triggers compassion, but it's not compassion. And if you stay within the rules and the boundaries of what your discipline is, then you're always discovering new stuff. I mean, it's endlessly fascinating. And I've got a team of negotiators. There's about 8 of us that we coach and train and consult. And we are so into it.
Mhm.
And we're learning new stuff every day. And
Wow.
it's human nature is endlessly fascinating. And it's wonderful if you get a chance to tap into it.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. All right, the both of you. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
It was a privilege. Thanks for having us on.
Okay, wonderful. That was Calgary realtor Renata Reid with Sotheby's International Realty Canada, and Chris Voss, who is CEO of the Black Swan Group in the US. And you said you were based in Vegas, right?
I'm based in Vegas, but we coach all over the country, all over the world, really. So yeah, wherever you are, we can help you.
Okay, wonderful. And I'm Mario Toneguzzi, taking care of business. Thanks for joining us today.